This podcast is part of the SJ Network. Go to s-j-network.com for more great podcasts and for contact information on publicist Steve Joyner.
You are listening to In a City Like Yours, a semi-monthly podcast featuring interesting people with interesting life stories. This podcast may contain language and/or subject matter not suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
I'm your host, Michael Glenn Moore. If you have an interesting life story and would like to appear on the show, please drop me a note at inacityLikeYours@gmail.com. Also, join our Facebook page at In a City Like Yours Podcast to receive notices of new releases and other info. Now, please welcome today's guest.
Hey everybody, it's Ben Shrewsbury, editor of In a City Like Yours. I want to throw a quick disclaimer in before this show begins. This show is all things wacky, weird, and wild. Take it with tongue-in-cheek. That's what I hope it is anyway. Enjoy this. Happy Halloween. Bye-bye.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Michael, for having me on, for actually inviting me on, which is pretty cool. It's been a surreal past year. My name is Richard Ian Magill. I'm 35 years old. I reside in Mississauga, Ontario in Canada. For the past 10 years, but about 14 years ago, I was a forklift driver for about 10 years. And then on my 31st birthday, something unique happened. A light flashed in the sky when I was about to, 10 minutes from my house. Sorry about the background noise. I'm actually just went for a walk, and I just stopped outside a Wi-Fi using pizza place. I kind of like to do a podcast. This is actually my 10th interview, which is pretty cool, and within the past year. But yeah, I like to do them in different places. Boardrooms, my buddy's garage. This one's outside. I apologize for any background noise. But yeah, so 31, flash in the sky. That got me interested in the subject. The subject we're going to be talking about is extraterrestrials, aliens, demons, angels. I don't know the proper vernacular. They're probably all of them, but mainly aliens. So yeah, that got me interested in the subject of extraterrestrials. Before that, I hadn't even seen the Star Wars movie. I'd seen Men in Black. I haven't seen E.T., seen Mars Attacks. But so yeah, just watching YouTube videos on how to contact them. And they basically one of them was go to the backyard or park at night and just try to pray to the universe, say come down, and if it gets really good, maybe take me aboard. It hasn't gotten that good with our relationship, but yeah, lots of other things that happen, which we're going to be talking about. But yeah, so I was a forklift driver at that time that worked in afternoons, so I was up 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and one night after work I tried to contact aliens, just for shits and giggles basically. And 15 minutes of doing it, I see a big light in the sky coming towards me. Oh my goodness. But I'm next to Canada's busiest airport, 20 minutes away, Pearson Airport. So obviously it's just an airplane, okay. But then as I'm lowering my head, I see a little light skip across the sky for 2 seconds. And I was like, holy guacamole. And that really was something amazing that I was able to witness. And maybe most people would just say that's a wrap, that's their extraterrestrial experience, and just be done with it. But me, for a couple weeks, I try to interact with them more and more after work, 15, 20 minutes. And about a couple weeks in, just trying to prove to my coworkers at work that I was interacting with the stars or the moon, which might be sentient, might be UFOs. And one night, about 4:30 in the morning, I had a feeling to film a star, the sky, and it somehow locked onto my cell phone. and created a half a blue circle in the top left corner. And I'm moving the phone around, and like the light was still there, literally from space, a star or a UFO pretending to be a star, or all of the astrology or astronomers are lying to us. I don't know what the Earth is a lot more complicated. I don't have a lot of answers, but I have a lot of cool stuff to show. and then yeah, so from that moment on, basically the secret to my success, I say, is basically I invited aliens to my house to party, asked them to make me a smiley face in the sky, and at first I saw a little like a gray, the alien face, like the basic one, but the opposite, like kind of like a football shaped, not like vertical, it's horizontal, and then it went from that to 3D black belt level, most intricate art. What we all know as crop circles, I say, is just their form of guerrilla marketing. This is a show about interesting people. For the past 4 years, I've had an interesting life, but the previous 31 years, not so much. But I do have some really interesting people in my family, which I just want to quickly touch on, just to show you the background, that may be why they picked me. And not because my grandpa, who was asked to fly Winston, he was an airplane pilot, and he flew paratroopers over enemy lines, and he was asked to fly Winston Churchill to meet with Joseph Stalin and Roosevelt at a place called Yalta. But his wife, my grandma, said, "You go, don't bother coming back," and he never did. So and then he had 3 kids. The third one was my mom. But the first kid was really he became president of a very big pharmacy chain in Canada called Shoppers Drug Marts. So he's like worth 50 million Canadian, $60 million Canadian. So we're the black sheep of the family. But because of an inheritance, I was able to take 3 years off and dedicate it into documenting, learning photography, and self-publishing a photo book, a 200-page photo book called "What Do You Mean Aliens Aren't Real?" I don't know how to make virtual reality art. I'm just a trigger man, and it's like the game SimCity, kind of but with extraterrestrials. Most intricate, complicated, it's unbelievable. And 50% of any profits that I ever make will be going to environmental causes. So that's why I'm willing to aliens only have one chance to show that they're real and maybe make some money off of it, right? If they can bitch slap the laws of physics, I'm sure they understand the concept of monopoly, right? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, what do you say?
Oh, I was just going to say, so your book is 200 pages. Where can people find it?
Yeah. Pretty much nowhere. You got to direct message me. It's not on Amazon. It's not. I wasn't able to get an account. They said my passport picture wasn't valid. I was literally maybe a few months ago, I got a thing from a British newspaper lady who said, "Oh, I'm going to want to do an interview with you." And then the day of the interview, she stood me up and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was time difference. And then I'll still want to do an interview with you. I got you new headphones just for the interview." But then she stopped speaking to me. So I'm just saying it's been a lot harder than I anticipated to get my story out into the masses. But it's only been a 4-year process. But mainly I'm on Twitter, Richard Magill, Magill, and the number 2. Direct message me. I got about 4,800 books sitting on my warehouse shelves for about a year and a half. I've been sitting on this. But it's about $44 US. I'll ship it anywhere in US, except for Hawaii. Then we'll talk, or Puerto Rico, or Alaska. Then I'll have to.
So let's go back to the beginning. When you first made contact, what kind of emotions went through you? I mean, this has to be an awe-inspiring event in your life. How did you feel when it happened? I
still actually have that I was recording, right, the star, and it recorded, and I was like, holy, and then I said the F word. I was like flabbergasted. But then it then I couldn't sleep that night, and then then in the backyard, and clouds moving, stop. Other clouds moving, stop. I was like in like a snow globe kind of. So they can hide behind clouds, but of course there's blowing a little bit. So I try to create such like a sterile, like scientific, trying to analyze, like get these pictures as crisp and understanding as possible. Basically, I like sprinkle a substance down, and invisible UFO energy whips it up into like 3D art or cartoon character art. I say it's a cross between Salvador Dali and Walt Disney, but like there's like 20 different ways to view the picture. But I had to like figure it out. It was a puzzle. It was like I'm waiting for 2 hours to one picture to be finished. But no, it's finished literally within 30 seconds. They just keep adding more and more detail. And it's, like I'm just learning photography, how you use a high ISO number, and it creates like the noise in the picture, adds a little depth to it. It's like, what I have to show the world is unbelievable. Hopefully it's going to piss off some religions, but we're not alone in the universes or dimensions.
So is that the message behind all of this? Is that we're not alone and there's
correct.
something out there?
Mm-hmm. And I just want to give you another quick two little things that I have to show to the world. Is but I adapted so quickly to this. I just quit my job, went and got a digital camera at a pawn shop and started taking pictures. And the first day in my backyard, a little tiny insect-sized, translucent blue, shimmering blue little UFO was doodling on my barbecue lid. And I'm like, what? And I watched it, videoed it a little bit on my shitty iPhone, and then moved the grate and scared it off. So they have the capability to shrink down. We have nanotechnology. We've had nanotechnology for a thousand years, right? So aliens, obviously, like we have to think that they're super advanced. But going back to what was the question?
I was just wondering how.
Oh yeah.
What the message was?
The gift. No wait, the gift. This is also going previous question how I felt. So after a couple of weeks of interacting with them, I asked them for a gift. Like, who am I to get like a dream job of all dream jobs that nobody dreamt was possible? Personal photographer to extraterrestrials, documentarian, business partner, possibly, who knows? But I asked him for a gold and meteorite lace dagger, like the one found in King Tut's tomb. Very specific thing. If you're familiar with that thing, it's like it's not supposed to be there, or it's a metal of the dagger, beautiful dagger, gold sheathed dagger is with meteorite. But so I found this rock in my backyard after pestering them for a couple of weeks. It's like a perfect tomahawk head. And it has so many signs of craftsmanship, like two parallel sides, beautiful design, a sharpened edge, a little notch in the back for fastening. The thing about meteorites they're black. This one's, of course, black. And magnetic. This one's highly magnetic. But compared to earth rock, magnetite, if you scratch it on tile, meteorite does not scratch on tile. This one does not scratch on tile. So it's literally the first gift from aliens. And one more thing, I asked them just jokingly, hey, let me try some of your food. And I found a small, tiny green, one-eyed, translucent eye, a clear eye, super tiny, like it fits inside a memory card case. So I would have to get like a 200 and I still would be full. Unless it's I kind of think I'm like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, that I'm like, I won the golden ticket. So maybe like one little fish will fill me up and give me lifelong.
So you found a fish?
Or I say fish, shrimp specimen. I don't know. These things have to get analyzed. But for me to go to a museum, hey, I actually possibly have something. Even Dr. Stephen Greer had this Atacama or this mummy thing, this little alien, and Stanford fudged the results. That like any person, like biologist looking, say no, it's something. They made it human, but it's not human, right? That's what he says. I don't know. So it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for me to, if those things get analyzed and say it's a meteorite or something unknown rock variety or a possible unknown like a little specimen. That's pretty wild. I would put the nail in the head of the coffin, right? When I was in high school, I was going back and forth between getting into advertising or law, and I chose advertising. But then after 1 year of schooling, I was sick and disenfranchised and went to Venezuela for 5 weeks, 38 days traveling around Venezuela. And it was there that I learned like the feeling that I used to get like contact aliens. How like I'd bought a spliff off the hippies, so some hippies to people in the capital of the Amazon region of Venezuela, and like smoking it, and like everything was moving, becoming alive. Like you could see like everything is, like the Matrix or whatever, the underground grid, everything. I don't know. Natural Mystic, Bob Marley thing.
Yeah. So is that the only time you used drugs to kind of emote what's going on with you? I mean, because some people will say that either you're crazy or you're taking drugs, correct. And so I mean, you have done that.
Very, very first question I've been asked. But yes, but I have such like my 7. I like to show. I have about 20,000 pictures of like the artwork they made. But I only have like one UAP picture, which is like when I got a zoom lens for my camera, and it was in my backyard, and got a new zoom lens for the camera. First night of shooting, took one picture. It's on a tripod. Nothing, just a black sky. Adjust the settings. Take another picture. Boom. 7 distinct objects, like different colors, like lines, circles, and and different like lights in the sky. So it's not my imagination. Someone actually saw my story and actually took it upon himself to make a documentary about this, explaining what I've just explained to you. But it's like an episode of Ancient Aliens, but in the present tense. It's 21 minutes. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll find every third tweet or my Twitter page. But the actual person that made it, his name is Night Freak Gobletron. It's an amazing name, I think. It was Parker, but he changed it.
Yeah, I'll put that link in the show notes as well as your other links, so the people who are listening to this can go there to find the links. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to know more about how people are responding to you. I mean, what kind of feedback are you getting?
Well, actually, my Twitter page was suspended for 6 months, and just when Biden got into office was when it got reinstated. Just one day I tried to send out a whole bunch of tweets, and they said I was an automated account. And but yeah, someone got from Australia actually named Oz. He has a paranormal show, Oddball Ozzy. Hit me up and said I want to have you on as my first guest, and then that got me trying to contact other paranormal podcasts, and some of them. We did one with Stephen Cambion on Truth Seekers, and someone actually made a podcast about my podcast, and they shit talked and called me crazy and every name. But it was, I felt like how Joe Rogan felt, like, holy wow. Someone made a podcast about my podcast. It was even longer, but they only talked about me for about 45 minutes, it's like surreal. But and to have someone spend, I didn't even pay this guy. I didn't ask him to do this. He did a huge interview, and then he took it upon himself to take 25 hours and create an amateur version of Ancient Aliens, which goes half the thing goes through my backstory, and another half goes through all my main proofs. I also have a possible alien UFO selfie from another dimension, but you only see the long arm, and the story behind that is in the documentary. The documentary's free. You can go to it and see all my main proofs, see a couple examples. If you want to travel to other dimensions and planets, as far as I know, I'm the only game in town. You hit me up on direct message, email transfer me money, I send you the book. I've only actually I'll be 100% honest, I've only had one international sale. So America, you guys talk a good game, but you're not, I don't know. But yeah, it's been, I've gone from 2 followers to 242 followers. And you obviously saw the merit in my situation and saw my pictures. Like, they're not photoshopped. I have every tweet almost has a couple of pictures and lots of examples of the book. I also make music and art, but after these were like kind of inspired by aliens, so I started learning photography, and then bought a ukulele and started making some crazy sounds. I say silly sounds, but I had a whole collection of like maybe a couple hundred songs. Then I got my phone stolen, and I lost the original thing of the selfie I was just talking about, and all that 6 months of work, pictures, and all that music. So only songs that are still available are on my YouTube channel, which is Richard Magill. And there's also lots of examples of the art being made, but it's like invisible UFO energy. So it's microscopic or insect sized. So you don't really see. There's only one video in which you see actual UFO, which was crazy filming it. Besides the first video I was talking about, when I was in the barbecue, which is not too much quality, but this one was a little bit better. But a little insect-sized UFO floats onto the page. I put a piece of paper. It's a 19-minute video on my channel, but it's a little insect-sized UFO floats onto the page and wobbles back and forth, and then makes like a slow motion backflip or somersault onto the paper. 5 minutes on, it's like scuttles across the page, and then when it gets to the edge of the paper, it's just me sprinkling something, in this case powdered or crushed up charcoal. Right? I crushed up a hand, so maybe they had to send in. You can buy powdered like graphite or charcoal. And I spent a lot of money on arts and crafts and giving them hundreds of different mediums to make the art in. Like what we know as crop circles in farmers' fields, but they can do it inside my house. I say I'm like Dr. Doolittle, but with invisible aliens. And they don't really talk to me. They just they're good listeners, right?
Were you an artist to begin with, or is that something that came along with the alien experience?
During high school, I made a lot of creative videos for projects, and which everyone really liked. And then that was about it. I played clarinet in high school. I was, in the drama, in a few plays. Nothing really, not too much. I didn't have any paintings before that. Or any music.
Something I found interesting from the YouTube video, the short documentary, 20-minute documentary, was your kind of tongue-in-cheek answers to the reporter who was narrating the story. But that seemed is that more his version of you? Because it wasn't you talking. It was just
a jackass. The thing about that one, why the answers are so professional and succinct and tongue-in-cheek, is we were doing it not just through texting, so you could actually see how your things are. When you text and when you live or talking off the top of your head, all right, it's completely different and it's not as eloquent. But yeah, I'm an asshole. I'm a jackass. So that's how I am. And I feel like I'm not scared of aliens. I'm more scared of skunks than I am about extraterrestrials. So when they talk, people always go back to the abducting cows. And I say, really? How many steaks and egg? One little egg is a whole chicken. A cute little chicken. So and I say, yeah, we're the boogeyman, not the amount of cows that killed in one day at a slaughterhouse is. I'm sure a lot more than all aliens have been accused of taking. And I'm not an expert on the subject at all. I've only read 6 books, and I had 4 years of everyday hands-on experience of trying to interact with them, finding cool things around my house or outside, being intricate, tiny, little rocks to find. I have I show it a lot on my Twitter page, but this one rock, which is really, really crazy, really, really tiny, but you look at the top little corner and you see alien faces. One looks like C-3PO from Star Wars. Another one looks like the usual ones. Yeah.
You mentioned that you had started writing music that dealt with this. Are you doing that now, or is that something you're releasing, or did you lose it all on the phone and you're not going to do any more?
I lost them all on the phone except the best ones. and I made some new songs. And no, I'm focusing mainly. I was just doing a few 4 months of building some fences, make a little bit extra money. But yeah, I really gotta start spending 8 hours a day selling these books because they're just been sitting there, and I'm ran out of money. So all the money's invested in the books.
So how much are the books?
$44 US. Price includes tax and shipping, and I'll ship a book to anywhere in America. If it's Canadian, 44 Canadian. That's including tax and shipping. Direct message me on Twitter, and we'll talk.
Do you have any plans for more books?
I got to sell these books first, and then redo the book because I went crazy, and I had to put like 1,400 pictures in the book. I had such fun time designing the book. It's like a coffee table book, but I say it's also for I used to love going obviously I hated going to the doctor, but when you go there, it's Where's Waldo, right? In the waiting room as a kid. It was like a Where's Waldo kind of book, but with aliens. But the thing is, you need the book, and you need your phone, and you need to stand back a few feet, 1 to 2 or 6 feet, from different angles, and zoom into the picture to see the pictures. You got to earn the art. It's like, say it's virtual reality artwork, like 3D immersive art. So, but how do you need the book to do? And then it would be good for an app, but the apps are really expensive, and I'm not doing an app right now.
Yeah, it seems kind of like it.
I really should have printed 5,000 books. I was kind of thinking, everyone's going to want a copy, and once this you find out that you can document art or make art with aliens, or document their arts, other people are going to do it. So I thought I would try to build up a collection of the things, and hopefully they understand the concept of monopoly, so they won't make this with other people. But yeah, so I got a lot of books ready to go. But you don't want the book, that's fine. I'm not forcing anybody. But just don't ask the universe for a favor, is all I'm saying. No, I'm just joking.
You might receive it. Yeah.
If you buy the book.
If you buy the book. Well,
I say if you want to travel to other planets and dimensions without leaving the comfort of your house, I think $44 US is a fair price. It's not like,
So do the images in the book
stand? The library.
Yeah. Do the images in the book stand on their own, or do they pretty much need you to narrate them and point out what is what?
No.
I mean, if you look at them. Can you tell
I spent a lot of time. I spent about $22,000 Canadian designing the book. But the guy took me to town. He really saw something that I had this one opportunity, and I got to get it printed. But his company won an award for the third best business card in all of Canada. So but then he was going to the Raptors games when the Raptors were winning, with flying and having floor seats, eating Philadelphia cheesesteak. So he needed to pay for that. So he took me to town. But yeah, I went and took a lot of time. Writing little anecdotes, a lot of quotes are peppered around it, and explaining like a lot of stories and explaining the main proofs. But there's no table of contents for the book. You just go around and see new things, and like every day it's an adventure. But you need with the book.
So when was your last contact?
Whenever you close your eyes and talk to them, which could be for me, it's an everyday occurrence. I'll tell you some funny stories about how to interact with them. I think would be kind of beneficial for everybody.
Sure.
Because how do you know you're talking to is it yourself? Is it your subconscious? They say we're all spiritual. We have an alien family. I've read Nikola Tesla's autobiography, and he says, I have a space family too, but he says he's going to elaborate later on in the book. I can never find that part, so I don't think he did. But one way I find to be able to hone your telepathy or communicating with other worldly individuals is ask them to give you a word that describes a sentence in a fortune cookie before you open the fortune cookie. For instance, I thought of the word hiccups in my mind. And then I open the fortune cookie, and it says, "Be prepared for a sudden and unexpected change of events. Be prepared for a sudden and unexpected and happy," I think it said, "change of events. Hiccups." So, so they're not nefarious, they're not evil, they're lighthearted and jovial and quite savvy and smart. That's just my opinion.
So, is the alien contact, are they contacting other people? I mean, are you alone in this, or are there people that you've met that have also met aliens or had some type of interaction with them?
Well, I watched also 2 documentaries. One of them it's called Curse of the Man Who Sees UFOs with Christopher Polo, and he's had some crazy adventures. But he's in California next to a government agents, their government bases, like army bases. So how much in the video, in his documentary, he was on a golf course watching a UFO. Then later that day, someone got burnt to crisp on the golf course, and it was an unexplained, like unsolved murder or something. I was just actually thinking about contacting him. I've talked to him a few times. He emailed me. He also he also like knows about the small UFOs, which was pretty cool.
That was interesting when you talked about how they can take any size, so they can be like the size of a pea and that small, but actually have been larger, but they can shrink.
Exactly. Well, they make art on Canadian pennies for me. I show in the documentary too, which are like most, like, if you remember going to Walt Disney World, you putting the pennies and $1 or something into the machine, and it hammers it down, but also makes cool design, something like that. But I've heard it on a Dr. Greer lecture, how he said a mile wide UFO can shrink down into basketball size one. So if that's the case, then maybe single seater UFO can shrink down into an insect size or smaller. I actually, when I've zoomed into pictures, you see little X's, like little white circles or different colors, purple or red or blue, like little UFO light energy things. Maybe they're artifacts from the camera, but I doubt it. Because I've also filmed that in the sky too, the same little X's. Maybe they might be satellites too. I don't know.
All right. Is there anything you want to talk about that we haven't discussed yet?
We want to get into the bigger picture and stuff, like why now? I mean, it's Halloween. I don't want to scare everyone, but like we talk. No, I'm just. I'm not a David Icke or Alex Jones. I'm just joking. But
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Lead us.
No, like I kind of feel like I was watching a lot of. Sorry guys, for skateboarding, right? I feel like I kind of let them down a little bit, like how it took like 6 months to design the book, and like then I was making music, making art, and really not putting a wholehearted effort into trying to get the word out. Just sending a few packages to news articles and stuff, or news like agencies, not really doing too much social media. I have to say, all this came through 5,000 tweets on Twitter, 10 documentaries or 10 podcasts and a documentary, and people for every 2, "Oh, you're crazy, mate. The fat lady sung. Just move on to something else." I talked to like Alien Perspective guy on he does the memes on Twitter a lot, and we have a back and forth, and he kind of mentors me a little bit, and he says. But then he goes and says, "Yeah, make another book talking about other people's stories." I'm like, are you kidding me? That's everybody else's thing. The thing about my story is I have a crazy, outlandish, wild story, but I have things to back it up. Everything I say is almost 99%, besides the fortune cookie. That's just a little extra, right? I have nothing. That's just an anecdote. I don't have anything to back it up, but But so I was watching a lot of James Bond movies too, all of them times two, and then here I am, and all this COVID things happens, like, oh my goodness, and to see everyone wearing masks. I can't even go inside a restaurant because I'm not vaccinated. But how are you guys doing there?
It's pretty good. I've had all my shots, so I've been vaccinated, but I still wear a mask everywhere I go, just in case.
Yeah.
And I think it's important.
I can't breathe when I take the bus.
Oh yeah.
But I was doing some a big fence outside a radio station, and I had to commute, and I thought I caught it. But 3 days of just rest and relaxation got better. But I was actually a big fan of Wim Hof, which is the very first day I was actually stopping, and like on my 31st birthday, I thought about to take off my jacket and walk the last 10 minutes home in a t-shirt because of the Wim Hof's kind of thing. So I implore people to look into him. He's a true crazy one of a kind story. Like he climbed Mount Everest in shorts and like not wearing a top and stuff. So obviously, I climbed a mountain in the Andes when I was in Venezuela, which is pretty cool. But yeah. So the environment. I don't want to sound like Greta Thunberg either about the environment, but also the environment is like they're kind of telling me that we're really in a fish with water, but like a fishbowl but we're polluting our air and drilling all the oil out of the grounds. It's kind of like they're giving me that, like, I don't really talk to them, but like they put that in my, you get feelings that I should be talking about these things. At least if I have this opportunity, I got at least, I've kind of turned into a hippie a little bit. I'll be honest with you. The past year of living with them, you try to care a little bit more about things, less about work, and that's also not being able to work. It's so hard to go around and sell my book to people before this, and now when they're afraid of the masks and stuff, they're wearing masks, 2 masks outside, and a face shield for like 0 cases now, like 10, 20 cases. They don't even say the case count anymore, I don't think. But I digress. So we're off subject. Aliens, yeah. You don't have to buy my book, but just 21 minutes of your time, please go to check out the documentary and tell some people about it. It's already had, in about 8 months, it's gone about 2.8 or 2,800 views, which is pretty cool. So the goal is to get onto the Joe Rogan podcast, and once maybe 10, 20,000 views, maybe that might be possible. Because I really want they made a patch. If you remember the documentary, that like a cat patch that I just flipped it over, and invisible energy was able to move it, and it's only halfway done. And I don't think they're going to finish it, except on the Joe Rogan, when I get to the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm gonna whip it up, and yeah. Hopefully I didn't scare you on Christmas or Christmas and Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to my ramblings.
I want to give a shout out to Ben, the editor of this show. Ben also has a podcast called 2 Marks and a Spark. You can find it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Check it out. You won't be sorry.